This is a quick overview on using the GCISD SpringBoard unit designing document. At the top, you'll see just an overview of the unit and the unpacked embedded assessment. For this example, we're using the EA, revising a personal narrative about choice. Here you'll see the skills and the knowledge that the students will need in order to be successful on that embedded assessment. Again, that's backwards design. The kids need to know where we're going before we get there. Scrolling down a little bit, you'll see activity and purpose and the text addressed. These two columns, along with the information up top, will already be populated in the design document. The purpose of having these two columns really is to make those texts much more overt. They're not necessarily visible or as overt as this in the SpringBoard book. And so we just want to bring those texts up to the forefront while you're designing the work in your classroom. The three columns here on the right, close reading and grammar, strategies to emphasize or add, and rationale, are where the real work of your PLT, happens. So close reading and grammar, that's where you're deciding whether to implement a close reading lesson or a grammar mini lesson. And just a simple yes or no, or if you want to put more information in that box, that's fine. More design of those close reading and grammar lessons will occur at the bottom of this document. This column here, strategies to emphasize or add, this is where you are really designing what those lessons will look like. You're using your toolbox, those Wicker strategies, those College Board strategies, those formative assessment strategies that you learned from assessing for learning, anything that you have picked up through the years, this is where you can implement those. Of course, you could just use these strategies as noted on the side of the TE, but if you have something else up your sleeve that you want to use, this is the place to really put that into action. For example, in 1.2, my team, we've decided we're going to use an ink think on the walls in the room to get those kids out of the book, out of their seats, but still accessing the knowledge that is intended through that lesson. This rationale column, this is where teacher reflection comes in. Why are we choosing to do the things that we're doing? For example, if we're choosing to skip one of the activities, then we definitely need to reflect on that and give a rationale and an explanation of where the learning of that activity would take place if we are skipping it. Also, a rationale for the design ideas that we are implementing here in this column. We'll give our rationale here in the last column. So back to that close reading and grammar column, you see a yes here and a yes here for 1.5. I'm going to scroll down to the close reading page. The close reading planning document, you see 1.1 and 1.5 here. My team decided that in 1.1 we're going to introduce metacognitive markers and use those really religiously and deliberately throughout this unit, but specifically here in 1.1. And then 1.5 is The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. This will be a close reading of that poem where we are coming up with a star-styled question. And we have star stems linked right here and AP stems linked here as well that you can click to come up with the questions that you will ask to prepare those kids for that test. Also, we have a Tier 2 vocabulary words. Any vocabulary that you want to pull out from these close readings to intentionally teach, that would be noted here in this column. Down below is the grammar planning document. And much like that close reading document, you're choosing those activities to teach these skills. So punctuating dialogue is the skill that we're going to be teaching, and 1.15 is where 1.15 lends itself to teaching that. There's a hyperlink here for middle school and high school TEKS. You can see the exact TEKS that each grade level is responsible for. Here is the additional notes and resources. And my team, we've decided to use a mini lesson from SpringBoard Online, and I've just linked it there to teach that punctuating dialogue in that lesson. And also just an activity I have in my back pocket that I've used in previous years, a post-it note activity, quoting song lyrics from music artists. That's something my my classes have done in the past, and it's a tool I want to use to teach punctuating dialogue within 1.15. So this is a place for you to intentionally embed and design those grammar mini lessons within the curriculum. Scrolling back up a little bit, you'll see a place for Portrait of a Graduate reflection. This is where your team can decide where in the unit you could intentionally make students aware of connections to Portrait of a Graduate. Where in the unit are they collaborative? Are they skilled problem solvers? And these boxes are really made for you to make those students aware so they understand what these things are. Then finally, the CIE connection box. The CIE is linked right there. You can click that. And one of the bullets in the CIE is a timed writing, and we decided to check off one of those by having one of our personal narratives be a timed writing. So we're kind of killing two birds with one stone there, and making that note here as we design the work for our classroom.